of a lawsuit against the NFL brought by more than 5,000 former players. The players accuse the league of hiding the danger of concussions. It calls for payment of up to $5 million to players who have severe neurological disorders, medical monitoring of all players, and $10 million for education about concussions. The deal was originally made 2 years ago, but the judge twice ordered it to be revised, first to uncap the amount of damages, and then to remove the limit on how much can be spent on medical monitoring. Joining us now to talk about what the settlement means for players in the future of the NFL is legal analyst Vikas Bajaj. Vic, good to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Thank you.
Okay, so the number being tossed out right now as far as the overall number that's being put out is going to be $1 billion over 65 years. How did this number come to be, and how will it be spent? And also, 65 years is a long time. It seems like a lot of things could change over 6.5 decades.
Well, I tell you, I had lunch today with a very well-respected colleague of mine, and she had indicated $1 billion seems like a lot of money. But you hit the nail on the head. $1 billion over 65 years is pennies on the dollar for what these NFL players have to put themselves through and what they have to live through afterwards when they have to see the fruits of their labor and have to live not the best lives when they're dealing with things like Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's, early onset of dementia, total traumatic brain injury. These are serious issues. So the class of individuals that's protected by this settlement are those who have those very serious issues, not those that have minor cases of TBI, traumatic brain injury. And that's a significant group of players, a high percentage of players that don't develop significantly debilitating issues that are easily diagnosed, such as Alzheimer's or ALS. But the majority of players which are completely left without any recourse if this settlement is not appealed and is approved as is, are those who have minor cases of TBI. So it is $1 billion, and on paper, when you write that out, it seems like a boatload of money. But at the end of the day, it's pennies on the dollar, and in my humble opinion, it's not nearly enough to cover the afflictions these individuals have to live with and their families for the rest of their lives.
I think it's worth noting that the league has about $10 billion in revenue every year now. Who knows what it'll be 65
And the league is, very interestingly, a not-for-profit organization.
Yes, that's got a lot of people talking for other reasons as well. By the way, as we talked about a second ago, an agreement was originally made a couple years ago, but it was ultimately tossed out for being too low. How does that play out, and how does the judge step in and make changes to something that's already been agreed to from both sides?
Excellent question. $675 million, million with an M, $675 million was the first proposed settlement agreement. The court at that point in federal court in Philadelphia said that's not enough. Now it's $1 billion, or pretty darn close to it. And that, of course, is the cap. Now, it is not an actual legal cap, meaning that if there is a request down the line for an amendment to that settlement order, the court, the federal court, same court that's blessing this settlement, can then change it. So right now, all parties, being the NFLPA, the NFL Players Association, and the NFL on the other side, as well as some individuals who have joined this class action lawsuit, believe that $1 billion is enough. That can be changed.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you about kids and parents. It seems like as a result of all of this concussion business over the last few years that has come out, a lot of kids have stayed away from football. Parents have kept their kids out of football. What does this situation mean for kids going forward, and how might this affect them as a result?
Kids are going to be much safer now. And that is because schools are going to be very scared of liability lawsuits, because the science is there about brain injuries and it being caused by head-on collisions as we have in the game of football and other sports. So you can look forward to more safety measures being implemented, which will give much more peace of mind to parents and the children themselves.
I also want to mention before we go that Junior Seau's family was one of 200 who opted out of this lawsuit. They are pursuing their own lawsuit against the NFL. Vic, thanks for your insight. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Great conversation, gentlemen.